Political spotlight is back on women's reservation as BJP wants the bill to be passed in the special three-day session of the Parliament. The legislation passed in 2023 was projected as a landmark reform aimed at boosting women's representation in Parliament and state assemblies. However, the rollout of the quota is linked to the completion of the next census and the subsequent delimitation exercise. The linkage has now triggered a political storm as consensus eludes it. Before we give you the entire picture, let's first focus on the South, on who gets how much, because there's a lot of hue and cry over South states getting lesser number of seats after the delimitation. Now look at the numbers. Tamil Nadu currently has 39 Lok Sabha seats. As per the 11th census, that would go up to 49, but under the government's formula, it rises from 59. Now Kerala moves from 20 seats, but today to 23 based on population, and then sharply up to 30 under the new formula. Andhra Pradesh goes from 25 to 33 and then to 37. Odisha from 21 to 28 and then to 31. Telangana increases from 17 to 24, but only to 25 after the new formula comes into the place. And Karnataka sees one of the biggest jumps from 28 to 41 and then to 42. So the first point of debate is, the government formula is still doing better than the 2011 census. But yes, there is a discontent around it. And now at the heart of the controversy is, as I said, proposed delimitation exercise. Expected after the next census, delimitation involves redrawing constituency boundaries based on population changes. The proposed plan will increase Lok Sabha seats from 543 to around 850. Since seat allocation is population-based, states with a higher population growth are likely to gain more representation. Southern states have raised strong objections, arguing that they could lose their proportional political influence despite better performance in population control and economic contribution.
தமிழ்நாட்டின் வாசல் வர வந்துட்ட பேராபத்தை பற்றி நேற்று நான் வீடியோவில் சொல்லியிருந்தேன். டீலிமிட்டேஷனுங்கிற பேரில் தனது லிமிட்டை தாண்டி பாஜக அரசு தமிழ்நாடு உள்ளிட்ட தென் மாநிலங்களை வஞ்சிக்குது. வட மாநிலங்களுக்கு அரசியல் வலிமையை மேலும் வாரி வழங்குற மாதிரியோ, தென் மாநிலங்கள் அரசியல் வலிமையை இழப்பது மாதிரியோ நடந்தால் தமிழ்நாடு பார்த்துக்கிட்டு சும்மா இருக்காது. ஒவ்வொரு குடும்பமும் தெருவுக்கு வந்து போராடும்னு சொல்லியிருந்தேன். யார் நல்லது சொன்னாலும் கேட்காத ஒன்றிய பாஜக அரசு இதையும் கேட்கல. சட்ட திருத்தம் கொண்டு வந்து நாடாளுமன்றத்தில் தமிழ்நாட்டின் குரலை ஒடுக்க பார்க்குறாங்க. நாளைக்கு கொண்டு வரப்போகிற சட்ட திருத்தத்தால் வட மாநிலத்துக்கும் தென் மாநிலங்களுக்குமான உறுப்பினர்கள் எண்ணிக்கை வேறுபடும். சும்மா பெயரளவுக்கு தமிழ்நாடு உள்ளிட்ட தென் மாநிலங்களுக்கு தொகுதி அதிகரிக்கணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவங்களுக்கு சாதகமான வட மாநிலங்களுக்கு.
Supporters claim that delimitation is a constitutional necessity and ensures equal representation for citizens based on current population realities. They say linking women's reservation to delimitation ensures fairness and avoids distortion representation. Opponents, however, argue that the linkage is unnecessary and politically motivated. They believe women's reservation can be implemented immediately without waiting for delimitation. Opposition warns that the population-based redistribution could disproportionately benefit northern states while reducing the voice of south regions. The debate is now centered on whether administrative sequencing is being used to delay a long-pending reform. With so much at stake, will it pass the litmus test in the Parliament? For that, we need to crunch the numbers. The current Lok Sabha has 543 seats. The proposed bill seeks to expand this to 850, 815 from states, 35 from union territories. But here's the real challenge. This is a constitutional amendment, which means that the government needs a two-thirds majority in both houses of Parliament. In the Lok Sabha, the number translates to roughly 360 MPs. The numbers are tight for the NDA. The BJP currently has 240 seats, with the NDA tallying around 293 in Lok Sabha. That puts the alliance well short of the 360 mark needed for a two-thirds majority, which means despite being the single largest bloc, the NDA cannot pass the bill on its own and will need support from outside allies to push it through. Now look at the opposition map. Congress, Samajwadi Party, TMC, DMK together account for 185 MPs. If they stay united, they have the numbers to block the bill in the Lok Sabha. The Raj Sabha, however, tells a different story. The government is on a relatively stronger footing there, making the upper house less of a hurdle, but still not a guarantee. And then comes the most crucial twist. which is attendance. Opposition leaders today held a meeting at the Kharge's residence, said that they would like a delimitation delinked from the quota. But Centre seems to be very confident on this issue.
तरीके से महिला आरक्षण और परिसीमन के बीच में एक जोड़ा जाता है और एक ही संविधान संशोधन बिल है जिसमें परिसीमन का प्रावधान है और महिला आरक्षण का प्रावधान। ये परिसीमन बड़ा खतरनाक है, जो बार बार सरकार की ओर से कहा जा रहा है। गृह मंत्री ने कहा है, अनेक मंत्रियों ने कहा है कि लोकसभा 50% ज्यादा बढ़ाया जाएगा और उसके साथ साथ समानुपातिक तरीके से सभी राज्यों के सीटें बढ़ाई जाएंगी लोकसभा में। तो ये कुल मिलाकर सारे पार्टियां चाहती हैं जो मौजूदा लोकसभा का स्ट्रेंथ है 543, उसके आधार पर 1/3 आरक्षण महिलाओं को दिया जाए। वो 2029 के लोकसभा चुनाव से ही लागू किया जाए, पर हम परिसीमन के प्रावधानों के बिल्कुल 100% खिलाफ हैं।
ये बेतुकी बात है। नारी शक्ति वंदन अधिनियम 2023 में पारित हो चुका है। अब सवाल है वादा निभाने का, और मैं मानता हूं कि इस देश की संसद का सर्वानुमत से इस देश की मातृशक्ति को वादा है कि माताओं बहनों को 33% रिजर्वेशन हम विधायिका में दे। ये वादा जल्द से जल्द पूरा करना चाहिए।
Now on this issue, I am joined by Brijesh Pandey, input editor, Smita Mishra, senior journalist, Advocate Nikhil Jain. Subsequently, I will be joined by the Congress spokesperson, Dr. Onika Mehrotra, and Kalyan Raman, senior leader, Bharatiya Janata Party. But let me straight away go to, welcome all of you. Let me straight away go to Brijesh. Let's put it in perspective. Can BJP manage the numbers?
Well, I think if you look at the brute numbers, the numbers are stacked against the government. And the only question is that will the opposition, I think the bigger question than this is that will the opposition be able to show the kind of unity which we witnessed at Mallikarjun Kharge's residence. If that kind of unity is displayed in the in Lok Sabha, then I don't think that the government will be able to bulldoze this bill or this amendment through the Lok Sabha, and I think they will not be able to get it. But if, and it's a big but, that if couple of parties decide to walk out, or how it is done, then I think it will be a completely different story. But yeah, if you go purely by arithmetic, I don't think that the government has number. The difference is almost 68, 67, 68 seats. So it's also not like the difference is like 10, 15 numbers which you can arrange by getting couple of parties on your side, or appeal to their better senses to make an exit from the Lok Sabha, and thereby making the job of the government easier.
Smita, is the government preparing an agenda for the Lok Sabha elections? A larger Bihar sort of a thing?
Elections are not so soon, Kartikeya. But yes, the government is preparing the parliament for the next Lok Sabha, the next general elections, which are still quite a distance away. And by the time we cover that distance, we have crucial elections in Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, and so many other states. So I don't think that is such a concern at the moment. But I do think I agree with Brijesh purely on the question of numbers. Yes, on the question of numbers, when you look at the present and voting requirement, there seems to be a shortfall for the government. It's a shortfall of about 68 to 70 seats.
Yes.
But I from my observations, I have a very strong feeling the government wouldn't have risked it, Kartikeya, that too in the middle of some very crucial states still to vote. They wouldn't have risked it unless they have had backroom parleys and they have spoken at least enough to ensure that their numbers of attendance is totally complete, and they have some support in the House so that the bill may just, cross that amendment requirement. I seriously feel the government wouldn't have restricted unless they had made their own, done their own homework.
Okay, your opening comments, Nikhil?
So, Karthik, I honestly feel this is more than anything a move aimed at the West Bengal elections, because let's look at the timing of all of this. In September 2023, 2 months before three important state elections, you bring in this women reservation thing, you get it passed in the parliament in both the houses. And then again, you suddenly remember this in April 2026, 2.5 years later, in the middle of peak election campaigning, when you're up against the most powerful woman politician of the country, Mamata Banerjee. Because, like we already discussed, the government does not have the numbers to pass with a two-thirds majority. And if they're trying to link the women reservation with delimitation, everybody knows that women reservation is something no political party can really take a stand against, whether they want to or not. Let's be pragmatic. But delimitation is a political party that all the parties from the delimitation is a contentious political issue that all the parties from the South or parties that have significant stakes in the South, parties like the Congress, they would never be willing to vote in favor of it, again, no matter what they actually believe. That being said, I think this is a very deliberate ploy in order to link a women reservation bill with delimitation so as to not muster the right support to pass it. And once this fails in the parliament, the Prime Minister can go around in West Bengal and tell the people that I wanted to give reservation to women, but Mamata ji ne nahi dene diya, Congress ne nahi dene diya, CPI ne nahi dene diya. I don't really see anything beyond that coming out of it. And if indeed the government's intention is genuine to actually do delimitation, I don't think this is the time to be discussing about it. And 3 days is too short a time. This is an exercise that would be happening after half a century. Very many important questions need to be answered. That do we stick to the original constitutional idea as envisioned in Article 82 that MPs are supposed to represent equal number of people, or do we add in another factor so as to account for the better performance of certain states so far as the population control measures is concerned? Do we also account for economic measures like the Telangana Chief Minister is suggesting, or do we simply freeze things as they are and let it be? Set it in stone, do not change it. And if indeed we are to have all these discussions, do we increase the number of Lok Sabha seats, or do we keep it at the same level? Because when the government says we are going to take it to 850, let's not forget that right now each Lok Sabha member of parliament does not even get to speak 12 minutes in an entire year. When you take it to 850, you are talking about 8 minutes to a person. Is that really productive discussion? Because such large parliaments are actually a telltale of autocratic countries. I'm not saying that is the intention of the government behind this.
Okay.
But they're not effective parliaments.
Okay,
when you have
wait a
1,000
minute.
people
Brijesh,
sitting in
if you
the
look at this data, the new government formula is still better than the 2011 census?
Well, I think, the government wants to, what people in the government, sources in the government are saying that, you're looking at a 50% enhancement. So it's not like only UP will get a 50% enhancement, states like Tamil Nadu will get and other states will get. But I think, the point Nikhil is making is a very pragmatic point, because the fact of the matter is that if you look at which party is strong where, therein comes the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that Congress is more or less wiped out of all the northern states. So for the Congress to have any kind of lopsided effect or any such situation passing through in which it can be dented substantially in the southern states, will, the Congress would literally be staring at their political death.
Permanent opposition. Permanent place in opposition.
Permanent place in opposition, even worse. And this is the reason why, I think the South Indian states, Tamil Nadu and other states will also not join it. And I don't think that Mamata Banerjee will also play to the gallery as far as this delimitation thing is concerned. I think, the government should have, come forward and explain to the opposition parties about, which would allay their apprehensions. But right now, the way, the North-South is placed, where the BJP is an absolute dominant party, from one end of the North Indian states to another end of North Indian states, I don't think that any political party is going to...
There is also one more thing, Smita, the Congress, though it was not vocal about it, has also been talking about, some sort of a representation for OBCs. Tell me, I mean to say it's another layer to this whole issue.
No, that for 40 years now, this OBC thing, this OBC factor has been used to delay the reservation for women, which was first presented way back in 1996. I remember I was a student, and we were thinking it was just about to happen. And since then, all my hair has grayed. So that's the story behind it. And I'm still waiting, and we still see bills coming and bills falling. and going back, and I hope I'll see it in my lifetime, but I don't know.
Okay.
Now the question, I think Brajesh analysis was too much on party lines. I don't think it is being done on party lines. It's a very serious, very serious constitutional point. You can't look at it as BJP versus Congress. Congress South में है तो उनको नुकसान होगा. Is the Congress presuming it?
No, I was my analysis was based just on what will happen tomorrow or day after.
Okay, wait a
That
minute.
was limited
Okay,
to that. Because the voting will be done day after tomorrow.
Smita, senior BJP, wait a minute, senior BJP leader Kalyan Raman joins me. Thank you so much, sir. And Dr. Onika Mehrotra, spokesperson Congress, joins me. First to you, Dr. Mehrotra, why do you think it is important to delink delimitation from women's quota? The movement has arrived. Quota ho jane dijiye.
Sir, when they came up in 2023, it was the BJP that came with 3 riders. And it was the Congress which unanimously supported the bill. We supported the bill. The women reservation should see the day of the light. But they came with riders. They said census, delimitation, and implement in 2027. Any which way, the census should have been done in 2021. We are far behind it. The BJP itself is not doing the delimitation, feeling scared that that's where the catch lies. So don't fall behind the garb of women reservation. This is what the BJP is trying to present. Oh, look, we are the champions of women reservation, but here comes the opposition, which doesn't favor it. Well, it's not the case. If you go back 2023, all of us unanimously supported the bill. Then we objected to it. Why the riders, sir? Why not 2024? Why not you have the reservation there and then? Let's do it. But no, they said, no, we'll do it. Census not been done. And now the same BJP, after 30 months, takes a U-turn. That's the typical style. They did that with GST. They did that with the Kisan bill. They made a U-turn. But shamelessly so, mid of the election, sir, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu. I mean, mid of election, what's the hurry? Hold on.
So you have made a point.
Sir.
No, I'll come back to you, madam. I'll come back to you. You have made a point. You have linked it with election. Let me go across to Mr. Raman. Mr. Raman, aren't you worried that this might have an adversarial impact on the Bharatiya Janata Party in South? One. And secondly, your opening comments, sir.
If there is going to be a proportional increase, no state is going to be affected, and which is what is promised. Now we are talking about the 2011 census. Apparently, people have sadly mistaken what this census is all about. If Tamil Nadu has got 6 assemblies per Lok Sabha, whereas the Karnataka has got 8 assemblies per Lok Sabha, and AP, Telangana and Karnataka have 7 per Lok Sabha, and in Chennai, I'm just giving you one example. Chennai, 117,000 voters are there in Harbour constituency. A newly formed constituency. This is one of the oldest constituency, Harbour is. On the contrary, something that was formed in 2008 went on from 3 lakh voters to 6.33 lakh voters. Naturally, we have to get it adjusted so that right kind of distribution takes place. The delimitation per se is based on that. Why should people confuse it with the delimitation in terms of the population, it is to be subtracted to the number of people in any given state on all India basis? That is not the way it is going to be. You take the case of Tamil Nadu, it is 14.5 lakh voters an average, whereas there is 25 lakh voters also in one constituency, in another there is 11 lakh voter also. We need to get them all adjusted and adjust the geographical regions. This is where we talk about the delimitation, which is a rational approach. Apparently, the congressmen are too worried about it for the simple reason that, okay, let's say that any long journey starts with one small step. Somewhere we have to make a beginning. We are making a beginning. You have a problem because you think that it is electorally going to have a bad impact on you. 3 of the states have already gone into elections in South. Kerala, of course, Pondicherry and Assam, they have already gone. Two among the 3 have already gone into the. If you are looking for electoral gain, then we would have done it 10 days back, 15 days back, 20 days back. That didn't happen. In the wisdom of the government, they thought it fit that this may be the right occasion to get it done. The first
Really?
step will have to be taken. They have taken.
So you're
So
wholheartedly supporting it. So you are wholeheartedly supporting it. You're saying it's the call.
I want the respected spokesperson of Congress to respond that in 23 did not you support it? Support it now also. What is the problem?
Okay, let her
You don't
respond.
have any problem
Anika,
with it.
okay.
You don't have
Dr.
any
Mehrotra,
problem with
respond
it.
to it.
That is where the catch lies. Why are you comparing it women's reservation? I'm 2023. We said do it in 2024 itself.
Why not? We are getting
that time
two
you kept
reforms
quiet,
together.
sir. That time you were mum.
We are getting two
That time you had no
reforms
one.
together. Do you have a
kept on
problem?
appealing. No. Hold on. Hold your horses now. You got to listen to it now, sir. The Parliament unanimously favoured the women reservation, the Nari, Vandan, so on. You might change the nomenclature. But then we said, why are you putting the riders? The same thing, after 30 months, you take a U-turn. That is where the catch lies. So don't hide behind the garb of women reservation. Do the delimitation, no issues, but do it by the census. Why didn't you do it in 2021? Why are you far
Do you
behind, sir?
think in the
What was
wisdom of
stopping
the
you?
constitution maker that they
Come
did
on,
not have the
sir.
wisdom
You're
that it
such
had
an
to be amended for the last 130 times?
And sir,
If
sir,
that is the
why
case,
not in 20
what
why
if
not
I
on
envisioned
April 29?
something 3 years back and today I'm
Okay.
envisioning
Okay.
something
Why
more?
April
What is the
15?
problem?
Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
why 29
You
April?
are
Why
just
not
adding
after
something on
election?
top of
Okay.
And
what we
sir, why
already
don't you
envisioned.
Oh, come on, sir.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Have the patience to listen. Sir, listen.
Wait a minute.
Why not have all party meeting after the election?
Wait
How
a
many days?
minute.
10 days?
Dr. Nika,
Will that make a
Dr.
difference
Nika,
to you?
Nikhil, I'll come to you. Do you think that in absence of consensus, delimitation should be frozen?
Is that to me, Karthikeyan?
Yes.
Absolutely. I really feel that this is such a contentious issue that this has the potential of creating a lot of rift between the southern parts of the country and the northern parts of the country. I think right now, if you ask me for an off-the-cuff solution, I think that's the best solution until and unless our parliamentarians, the government, can deliberate and really come out with a formula that takes on board the views of all stakeholders from all states and all political parties.
Okay, Smita,
I think
to,
right now
Smita, to
freezing
you,
it is the
because,
best
Smita,
way
to
to
you. Smita, if women reservation bill is the priority, it's the most important thing, can't it be piloted minus the delimitation?
I would say if the government has the numbers, it should go ahead with it.
Okay.
Because governments have their own timeline. They should not get bogged down by statements or anything. But if it looks impossible, then I will say better to have women quota in 2029 Lok Sabha than, hold it back for delimitation. For more than 35 years, it was held back because of this quota within quota thing. There is no OBC quota for men. I mean, general, not men. There is no OBC quota in Parliament and Assembly. But whenever we came to the point of discussing the women's bill, somebody rose up, tore the bill and said there should be separate quota within quota for OBC women. It was nothing. It was just to delay the bill. There is only SC/ST quota as per our legislature, and that has been incorporated in the bill. So, if the government has the numbers as they are claiming that they have done their homework, if they have the numbers to get the delimitation passed, do it. All states will get their due share proportionately. But if it becomes a sort of a hurdle, or if it becomes a wall in implementing the 2029 women's quota in Lok Sabha, I would say give women's quota the priority. Women have been made to wait for 40 years. I think it's enough. At least the women's bill per se is already passed in Parliament. It is just a matter of course correction. The Congress spokesperson here, she has referred to it as a U-turn. I would rather call it a course correction. Better in 2029 than the later election.
But there is
yes.
one more issue. I'll come back to Smita. Brijesh, isn't this ironic? The entire Parkati thing. If you recall, I didn't cover Parliament then, but I read it. I started covering it in 1990. After 1998, yes, late Sharad Yadav said in the entire Parkati thing, and then the entire thing happened, quota within quota. So entire women reservation journey is not about women reservation. First it was quota within quota, then today right now it's delimitation. There is an added layer of OBC. So apart from women reservation, other things get added to it, and it never gets passed.
But I think Amit,
Sharad Yadav came from a general, a common constituency. He never came from an OBC constituency because there is no such constituency. But he allowed his men to stall the women's bill. for
Okay.
years.
Okay. Vijesh.
I partly agree with Smita when she says that, that if delimitation becomes the sticking point, then, the government should just go ahead with the women reservation bill. But the fact of the matter is that delimitation is the sticking point. It is a point which is making everyone, recalibrate the entire moment. The fact of the matter is that, when the bill was passed in 2023, the entire opposition also voted for it because it's a very, sensitive
I asked this
issue.
question to you.
But now this adding of
Smita,
delimitation,
I asked this question to you.
they have cleared the path for it.
I asked this question to you. Smita was slightly dismissive about it. I respect her opinion. Is government trying to create an agenda? You see, BJP has been very successful in creating agendas. They had the UCC had an agenda. They had 370 as an agenda. Na khaunga na khane dunga. The corruption was an agenda. The entire monetization was an agenda. The anti-terror operation became an agenda. I think Mandal 2.20 has run its course. Do you think that this women reservation bill, apart from, I'm not saying that the government is insincere, the fact that they are organized it shows a level of sincerity. But it is an agenda to position the government in long run to create a model of voters, something which Nitish Kumar created in Bihar 20 years ago, that women cutting across caste would vote for them. Women cutting across caste, class, religion, sort of a national
when the
vote.
government wants to implement it, government will get it implemented. The point is that, usually we don't agree with the other side, but the fact of the matter is that the government can wait for 10 more days. It's not like, that the course is running out and the world will come to an end. It is not. The government can call for an all-party meeting, and the government also knows that delimitation is a sticking point. Am I to assume that the government doesn't know? So delimitation can come later. So you can get the women reservation passed, you can get the amendment in the women reservation
I'm throwing this question to Onika, then Mr. Raman can come to it, the government has been very successful in creating certain positions on which the elections have been fought. No one can deny that. So my assessment as a journalist, maybe that's a position they are trying to create, something which Nitish Babu did 20 years ago. Women cutting across caste, class, and religion.
Nitish Kumar implemented it. That's why he
reached the benefit. But he created a position. Is that the agenda?
You're bang on right,
Karthik,
I'll come to you, sir. You'll have time. Ramanji, I'll give you time. Ramanji, I'll give you time. That's my point of view. You can say that, Karthik, you are wrong. First, Onika. Yeah.
Karthik, you're bang on right, because that's what they've been working on throughout. The past 12 years, you have seen that. But now they are drastically failing, They started with 400 par, look where they landed up. So now the new U-turn. So they need to bring in some issues. The women is a very sensitive issue. As they've been playing around by, paying them right before the election, during the elections, 8,000, 9,000, blah, blah, blah. But this time, it is not the women reservation bill, sir. That, sir, in 2023 itself, when everybody had declared it, unanimously passed it, they could have seen the day of the light. But they held it till 2027 after delimitation was done. It was their verdict, sir, right? We kept on saying, don't do that. If women agenda is the main crux, please go ahead, we'll stand by you. We never opposed it. But now, looking at their drawbacks, looking at their failures in Assam, in West Bengal, with SIR, they've been up to all the mischief they've been doing. Now, it is not the women reservation bill, sir. It is the delimitation and fixing the number of seats, 850 seats, and if it's done in a manner which increases to one state and to the other, I think equal voice will not be represented by India. What is the parliament all about? The federal nature.
Okay.
So the hurry. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Raman. Now.
It's simple that the Congress wants to create a ghost and want to fear the ghost. This is the problem. They are creating a ghost out of nothing, and then they are fearing it, and then they are saying that there is an agenda attached to it. Beyond that, there is nothing in that. Whether we have a program now or after 2 years, it doesn't make any difference. Government is destined to create new policies, new agendas, new developmental activity for the sake of governing better. And women quota has been pending since 1971, or we can say 1974. It is 51 years old at least. When that be the case, when it was passed earlier, as early as 1974, it was put to JPC. It remained under JPC for such a long time, not 1 day, 2 days, over 50 years. The Congress could never do anything about it because Congress is never interested in it. Congress, Congress, believe
Who gave
out of 70
reservation?
years, let me
Who
give
gave
you a simple
30%?
Monica ji, I'll come to you.
Please listen to the fact of the
I'll
case.
come to you. I'll come to
Monica ji,
you.
please listen to the fact of the case.
We gave 30%.
Please listen to the fact of the case. Out of
What did
70
you
full
do?
years,
You
you
objected
had
and
only 3
refused
women
to
CMs.
Hindu Muslim. That's
Out
it.
of
Okay,
30
okay.
years,
Beyond that.
we have
And
given
sir,
5 CMs in the
2023,
country.
why
So
didn't you
that is the
implement-
difference between
No,
you
what
and
is
me.
the hurry?
Okay. I think one thing,
BJP.
there is one conclusion I can reach. There is a lack of complete consensus.
2023.
And I think, I don't know how the floor of the House would be managed, but you know, going by the way numbers change, I remember everyone thought that the UPA will fall in the first tenure, but then Ahmed Patel and other people were able to manage numbers. So, you know, the number games always go for the government. But this time, as Smita was saying, it's slightly on the higher side, you know. It's slightly on the higher side. Nikhil, you wanted to come in?
I just wanted to make a point that while we are discussing how different political parties are going to behave given their stakes in different parts of the country, the Congress actually is not finished in the north as a lot of people seem to think. In the 11 states that you can count in the north, and I'm not counting Jammu and Kashmir at the moment and not counting Chandigarh, the Congress actually has more than a 30% vote share in the Lok Sabha elections in 8 of them. It is the number one party in 2 of them. It has more than a 40% vote share in 4 or 5 of them. So the point being that when we talk about the Congress's position on this, I don't think it is a position dominated with their stakes in the South. It is also a position that will take into account what is happening in the North and how, you know, people in the North are going to behave. Let's not forget Ashok Gehlot and Bhupinder Singh Hooda, Shailja Kumari, Randeep Singh Surjewala. These are all people with real stakes. These are people who have to look at their constituents in their respective
me
states,
give a
and the
counter
Congress
to
decision
Nikhil.
making is going to reflect that.
Okay,
And
Brijesh.
sir, why
Let
fall
me
back
give a
on
counter
that?
to
Brijesh,
Nikhil.
You know,
You have to defend this. You have to defend yourself.
There's no defending. The fact of the matter is that, you know, with all the Bhupinder Singh Hoodas and the Surjewalas, they lost the winning election. You know, there were many a slip between the cup and the lip. And the fact of the matter is that, you know, Nikhil knows. So, you know, the fact of the matter is that, you know, what are you going to call Congress?
Brijesh.
What kind of representation it has in Bihar?
Brijesh,
What kind of
Brijesh,
representation
please
it
allow
has
me
in
to
Why fall
defend.
back on old
Uttar Pradesh?
census?
And we are already talking of 120 seats out of 543. So that's like, you know, that's a major
I
chunk.
think people forget in 1990 what
And-
propelled Bharatiya Janata Party to 89 was UP.
I mean, see, the thing which got
They didn't get seats in other
BJP, the state which got BJP down to 240 was UP. So I'm just saying that if you're not a player in UP and Bihar, then I mean, you know, you may be a player in Himachal Pradesh. No disrespect to the state, but it's a number game. You know, so I'm
And
basing my
why
analysis
fall
on the
on
number
old
game. It's as simple as.
Kartikeya, why fall on old census? Why not the new one?
Smita.
2021, you are bound to the census.
Smita,
You never
Smita,
did
you have
that.
also, you know, you're in a new
Communist
avatar.
Party
You're in a new avatar. Just give me your assessment. Give me your assessment. You have, in your previous avatar, you had covered this party. What is your assessment? Is it going to scrape through or is it going to fall?
About the bill going through,
Yes.
I will just repeat what I told you at the beginning of our conversation. I don't think the government would have risked calling the session at this point of time, right in the middle of 2 very important states still to vote, unless it had some confidence on its part that it will go through is one. Secondly, about your concern that the government is making it into a political agenda.
Not my concern. It's not my concern. It was my assessment. You know, I shouldn't be concerned. I am a journalist. It's my assessment.
If women's reservation, giving women 1/3 share in legislatures, it becomes a priority agenda for any government, Narendra Modi or whosoever, I would think it's a great thing to be done. Atal Bihari Vajpayee tried. He brought it 4 times. It couldn't go through. Sonia Gandhi failed spectacularly. She placed it in Rajya Sabha. Their own allies were not ready. It never came to Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha ki dahliz pe aaya hi nahi bill. And the government fell. And then now we are at a point when it looks it looks really workable. It's the first time it looks.
So I think the bottom line here is the consensus here is that the bill needs to go through. If the cost is to do away with delimitation, the bill still needs to go through. I think that's the consensus of this.
I think, I mean, if there was no delimitation, the bill would have gone through.
The bill should go through. I think that's the most important thing. Thank you all of you for joining me on this debate.